Longest weeks St. Louis has had in a long, long time, and it looks like things have sort of at least starting to come back to some sense of normalcy. Gabe Crocker is with us, St. Louis County president of the St. Louis County Police Association. Did you get a nice couple extra winks?
That's funny, McGraw.
Yeah.
Why? Try that again.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Okay. All right, good. You have been...
I took a few extra minutes this morning.
Certainly understandable. Certainly understandable. Okay, Gabe, you were here early last week. Was it last Friday, I think?
No, it was Monday.
It was Monday, okay. So we'll start the week and we'll end the week with you. Also with us is Scott Sherman, who has been on the show for years, and the first time you decided to wear a tie.
Well, this is the first time that a studio was befitting of a tie. This is really nice.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You betcha. Nice studios, huh?
It's great. It's
Yeah.
great.
It's the brand new studios. It's the First World Studios located in University Tower. It's the new home of the morning show on the Big 550 KTRS. And you can watch us at stltoday.com/McGraw, and you can also watch us at ktrs.com. And the idea is to help sort of integrate the radio and the TV together. And so this is our first day, and we hope for many more years to come with the partnership with us and Pelopidas and the Post-Dispatch and everything else. All right, so quickly, let's get a report from the police.
Okay.
Is it things have settled down? Are we feeling better now? What's the official word? What are we thinking?
Things have definitely settled down. The crowd is much more friendly. I think the police have been able to lower their barometer out there.
Right.
We're shaking hands. We're picking up trash. We're trying to do all the things to help make the crowd feel better.
Right.
And there's a lot of those people that are making us feel a little better by, coming up, talking to us, engaging in conversation, engaging in dialogue. There's been 2 days of relative calm.
Right.
Still having a few issues with those instigators every now and then, but for the most part, it's going pretty well in Ferguson, and it's a big relief for a lot of people.
But before we get to this video, it's a really interesting point you bring up, and that a lot of people have said that when the police show up with riot gear and they're looking for trouble, boy, that sort of ratchets up things. But it's also true the other way. When the people look angry and look like they're going to do something, the police get ratcheted up as well.
Two sides to every story. And I mean, they look at what we do as instigating them. We look at what they do as instigating us. Of course, my opinion is when we look at the crowd and we see bottles of stuff flying and we see fights and disturbances and, behavior that's a little outside the norm, it causes us to get a little more tense. And of course, we're going to talk about all that stuff this morning, like the M80s that were thrown at us, the incendiary devices, the Molotov cocktails, and shots fired.
Right.
Police being shot at.
Let's talk about this officer from St. Anne that was suspended. This video that has gone all over the world. He's been maligned, and it's been Exhibit 1A as the over-aggressiveness of the police. What are your thoughts as you watch that video and you see the coverage?
I'm not going to make excuses for that officer. I'll let his supervisors, take care of that situation.
Right.
Just as you can't ask one of the community leaders out here that are helping to organize this protest justify why there are people looting.
Right.
It's a little tough for us to understand. All I can try to do is provide a little bit of background for when you see an officer do something like that. Of course, I wish he hadn't done that, but I can certainly understand the tremendous amount of pressure that our officers are under. I'm not begging for sympathy.
Right.
I'm just saying that he probably reached a point after maybe 5-6 days of 14 and 15 and 16 hours in a row where maybe some physical exhaustion or stress or an emotion maybe hit him at the wrong time. And we've got a lot of people that had been instigating us out there, including a lot of reporters, and it's just very stressful. I think his department is handling it, and I'm sure that officer probably realizes at the maybe now could have done things a little better, but I'm here to say that not every officer has done that.
Right.
And that I really I empathize with that officer because it's tough, McGraw. I'm not, again, begging for sympathy.
Sure.
I don't need anybody here to to
Right.
cry for me, but it's tough.
But two things I noticed about that tape that I don't think anybody on the national news pointed out. One is the man's wearing no real protection. So he's in the middle of a crowd.
Right.
It seems like everything's breaking loose,
Right.
and he's not wearing anything, which I thought, boy, if that were me, I would drop a couple of F-bombs too.
If you, I can only imagine what it's like to have kids when you tell a kid to, hey, you need to go to bed, or hey, you need to brush your teeth, or hey, and quite frankly, dealing with some of these reporters out there. And when I say reporters, I'm being very generous in my term. It seems that every guy or gal out there nowadays with an iPhone is a reporter.
Right.
I mean, they've got a blog. They're averaging about 9 hits a year on their blog, and really what they're doing is they're out there to stir up controversy. I truly believe some of these reporters out there, McGraw, really, really want to get tear gassed or hit with some type of less than lethal device,
Right.
or maybe a situation where a police officer maybe does something that he or she shouldn't. Why? More views on their blog. They get some kind
right.
of exclusive.
You said that they were taunting the police. Give us a couple of examples of what you mean by the police were taunted.
Easy. Well, let's leave the protesters out of this for just a second and talk about the reporters.
Now,
by the way,
when you say reporters,
Sure.
you call them citizen journalists, so we can
I'm sorry.
differentiate
Okay,
between
sure.
the CNN reporter and
Yeah,
the citizen
you're
journalist out
absolutely-
there.
You're absolutely right. Citizen journalists, and there were hundreds of them. At times they actually outnumbered the protesters, and it was especially in the concentrated groups of people that were marching.
Right.
So anyway, sorry.
Go ahead and
Excuse
cough.
me.
You can cough. Yeah, you're
I
right.
didn't know if I had a cough button I was supposed to hit.
That's coming in next week.
So these citizen journalists are out there, and I can tell you this. When you walk up to somebody and you go, "Sir, I need you to move back," and they go, "Why?" "Okay, sir, I need you to step back. You're standing in the middle of the road." "Why? I'm not doing anything wrong." "Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to go ahead and step on back, please." "You can't make me." That's the kind of taunting and things that we're getting from these citizen journalists,
Right.
That are out there, and they're taunting and they're tempting. I know one more story, and this is a guy, and he has one of these larger cameras. It's got the big flash on the top with the curved
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So this officer's asking this guy to move back, and he's getting the same thing. "Well, I'm a journalist. I don't have to." "Well, sir, you need to move back. The whole crowd here needs to move back." And mind you, the barometer of this situation is bad. People are really upset. We got all this stuff going on, and this guy is just taunting this policeman. And finally, he kind of acquiesced to the police officer asking him, to move back. And then he holds his camera up and does a test flash, boom, right in the cop's face, temporarily blinding him.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with out there, and you don't hear people report about it. I'll tell you what.
Have you been cursed at out there?
Oh, cursed at.
Have you been spit at? Have you been?
Personally, no, but some of our officers have. They've thrown urine, and again, we're out there to do a job.
Right.
But I'll tell you, the citizen journalists have been a huge problem for us.
Really? Because they've been overstepping their bounds? They think they are emboldened because they have a camera?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what their reasoning is. I think a lot of it is personal motivation. It's very frustrating for us. And, they're out there to do a job. I get it. A lot of them are nice people. They're out there to take their pictures. They're out there to do their thing. But some of them are out there looking for their first big, hit single on their blog.
So you're saying that at some point there were more journalists out there than there were protesters.
There was an incident the other night where we had narrowed down the crowd, and they were in the parking lot of a McDonald's,
Right.
And we had our arrest teams that were basically inserting themselves into the crowd. Then they withdraw one of an instigator,
Right.
And I have no doubt about it. It was 5-1. 4-1 at some point, where it was just all these.
So
guys.
it was the citizen journalists to have
Right.
5 citizen journalists every one agitator.
At some point, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's an accurate number.
I want to get this video. We're going to take a break. Gabe Crocker is our guest. He's St. Louis County Police Association president. It seemed like that there was a turning point when they started saying that there were clergy out there on the front lines trying to talk the crowd down. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. They were so helpful and they had such a calming influence on the crowd. They've also come, walked around and talked to a lot of the officers and thanking us for being there and trying to create some separation between us and the events and talk to us.
Right.
And I think that's been instrumental in helping to control that crowd. Mind you, again, we're talking about 2 to 3 days ago, but they're continuing, when it was really
touch and go.
Yeah, touch and go. And the last couple days, this crowd has started to respond. We've started getting peace signs, and a lot of officers are throwing those peace signs right back. And hey, listen, 2 fingers is better than 1.
Right.
That's major progress. And I don't mean to make a joke, but it is. I mean, that shows you how much this situation has changed in the last 2 days.
All right. Gabe Crocker, our guest. Stay right there. Scott Sherman here as well. When we come back, we're going to dissect this 2-minute video that Carl Lund, who is a citizen journalist, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right, Scott? I mean,
he's a buddy of mine, and I think that's the best and probably nicest thing.
I'm not trying to be rude to him. I'm just trying to say I don't know what to call him.
He is you would call St. Louis's information gadfly.
Okay.
If there's something going on, Carl's there. No one knows why, but we're glad he is.
He posted a 2-minute video online in which has gotten 100 hits. I mean, no one's seen this online. And so you're going to dissect it for us when we come back.